Hi again, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Newtopia Now is basically a month away, and we see just so many questions about the show, who is coming. We know it's a new concept, it's a new show. Last year was amazing, and I know this year New Hope is working to make even better. I love the show because it's like very focused on connections with the buyers and brands, less service providers. So we brought here Katie and Jessica that I'd love for you guys to introduce yourself, and then they're gonna take over and talk about the show a little. We also are gonna open for Q&A, so you can use the Q&A feature. That will be easier for us just to track all the questions. And then we do have an exciting news about the booth giveaway, and that I will share towards the end of the call. So Katie and Jessica, if you guys can introduce yourself and please take over.
Amazing. I'll let Jess kick us off here.
Okay, well, hi everyone. I'm Jessica Rubino. I'm the VP of, at this point in the day, do I remember my last name? Do I remember?
You don't have to.
That doesn't matter. Details. I'm the VP of Content and Summits at New Hope, so I oversee content across all of the things, including Newtopia Now, and content is such a big, important piece of this event, so I'm excited to talk about that and all other things Newtopia Now. And then, Katie, do you want to introduce yourself before I
Sure.
jump?
Yes, thanks so much. I'm the sales director for Newtopia now, Jess and I worked on the launch show. Now we feel like we have a toddler, but she's beautiful. First year was really great. We're super excited to be back. So really happy to meet all you and have another chance to chat about Newtopia with you.
Yes, and as Patricia said, definitely put questions in the chat. We want to make sure we get to, in the chat or the Q&A box, because we want to make sure we can get to as many as possible. So here on the screen, you can just see some of the photos from Newtopia Now last year. I think these are great because they really capture all the different elements of the event, which we'll talk through. But Patricia had mentioned one of her favorite parts of Newtopia Now is that real ability to make strong connections. And as we talk through the different pieces of it, you'll really see how that comes to life through the event and how we're really focused on connecting brands with retailers and investors in particular at Newtopia. So, what makes Newtopia Now unique? We definitely get this question a lot. And once you experience it, for those who have not yet experienced it, you will get those answers. But when we talk about it as an event, I think the intimacy of it and the really experiential aspect of it is what sets it apart. We really want it to be a destination for product innovation, and we found that retailers wanted it to be that. And so, them knowing that they're coming to Newtopia Now to truly discover something new and to connect on a deeper level with brands has been really great for everyone involved. And, as I noted, definitely the primary focus is on connecting brands with retailers, but we also have a really strong presence of investors at the show, which has made it a really great opportunity for companies that are seeking funding. So here are just some of the speakers that we'll have. Of course, we have your own Daniel Scharf there, who will be joining us for some sessions. As you can see on this slide, we have a lot of retailers. These are just a few of the retailers. Michael Costello, who's the CEO of GNC, Jaden McTaggart from Earth Fare, Ben Bristol from Whole Foods, Emily Schilt from Pop-Up Grocer, and then we also have Rachel Hirsch, who's an incredible investor in the wellness space, and Gabrielle Lyon is one of our keynotes. And you can see all of the speakers and presenters on newtopianow.com. But I wanted to focus this primarily on our retailers, because not only are the retailers coming to the show to set up meetings and discover companies, but they're really coming to the show to share insights that they're not sharing anywhere else. So a big part of our programming is making sure that we give early stage brands access to the insights from retailers that will really help them understand what it takes to get into that retail store and be armed with more information going into meetings with them or having conversations with them on the show floor. So here are some of the other retailers that will be there. I mean, we have everyone from Byright and Bristol Farms to Thrive Market, Wegmans, of course, Whole Foods, Target, Sunflower Market. I think the biggest thing here is just like at Expo West, you'll see a diverse range of retailers from big box stores to independent natural to innovative and disruptive retailers. We actually have a whole session on disruptive, innovative retail models. And so we have found that just like Newtopia Now is appealing to innovative brands, it's also really appealing to retailers that want to stay on the cutting edge of CPG. So here's a look at the schedule. This year, it's August 20th through the 22nd. And if you're joining late, it is in Denver at the Colorado Convention Center from August 20th through the 22nd. Definitely be in for all of Wednesday. That's our community experience day and also exhibitor setup. And we have a really great opening reception. Our community experiences are really fun because, as you can see, they don't overlap with show floor hours. So it really ensures that retailers are there, investors are there, and brands are there. So everyone's getting together to have really fun, unique experiences. I love all of them, but want to give a special shout out to the Women in CPG luncheon, which we had last year and was so special. We also have an event at the Denver Botanic Gardens, which I live in Denver and it's one of my favorite places to go. So that's going to be really cool. And then a pack and give back event. And like I mentioned, our neighborhood networking night, which kicks off at 5 p.m. on August 20th. Then on Thursday, August 21st, that's when the show floor opens. We did introduce a buyer only hour this year. That'll be on both Thursday and Friday from 9 to 10. And that's really cool because it creates an even more intimate environment for buyers to be out there on the show floor, connecting with brands and having some of those conversations, in addition to the meetings that they'll be scheduling. And then the show floor opens for everyone from 10 to 5. If you were not there last year, one thing that's really special about this event is that it's divided out based on a neighborhood concept, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But when you see neighborhood content there, that means that content is happening on the show floor while the show floor is open. So this is really unique because we found that brands that were, only had a couple people that they were bringing, which we expect because we have a lot of small companies there, that you can pop over to a session and it may just be like 10 feet from your booth. It makes it really easy to participate in programming, which is really cool. And it all is there on the show floor. And then our Conscious Connections Lounge and Hosted Buyer Lounge are open for meetings from 10 to 5. And again, that's also on the show floor. And then on Thursday night, we have our Dine Around series. So each of the neighborhoods has its own special hosted dinner. If you're attending or are looking to exhibit, let me know and I can hook you up with an invite to one of the dinners. They were really cool. They're at 3 of the best restaurants in Denver, and we did them last year and just love them. And we curate the invites based on who's exhibiting in the neighborhoods and retailers that have a special interest in these categories. And they're just great. So that's Thursday. And then Friday, again, we have our buyer only hour, show floor open 10 to 5, more neighborhood content and those meetings on the show floor.
Great, thanks, Jess. And then again, for some updates for some of you that didn't get a chance to join us last year, we're going to share here, but 25 is shaping up to be even more exciting. Lots of cool and brand exhibits and engaging opportunities for sponsorship through the brand goals and activations. Stages on the floor, again, on the show floor, expanded stages. We had to have more room for all the engagement with our content. Lounges on the show floor, so there's plenty of meeting space. And one of those key lounges is our Conscious Connections lounge, which is where the buyer brand meetings take place, and those are curated. And then lots of opportunities for product discovery. I'll talk about particularly in our market area on our show floor. And then the neighborhoods that Jess was talking about are these 3. Thrive, which is the latest innovations in food and nutrition, health and nutrition rather. Regenerate, which is where our good for the product sort of storytelling is happening there with regenerative and organic and sustainable products. And then Glow, which is our conscious beauty neighborhood. And the Startup CPG area is in both Thrive and Glow for companies that are food or beauty. And then this is a peek at our show floor. We did make some changes this year just based on feedback from our community last year. We moved the market to the front of the show floor, right in the entrance there. And that is the first place the buyers will come for product discovery. Your product as an exhibitor is on shelf there in a retail-like setting. The product is scannable and then with a QR code. And then the buyers can find you on the show floor and learn more about your whole product line through Beacon, our online product discovery tool. So the market is really amazing place to highlight your product for that first impression. We're also doing a Retailer's Choice Award out of the market this year, which is super exciting. The buyers will be voting on their favorite products. The Conscious Connections Lounge, you can see kind of up there at the north side of the hall. That's been expanded. It's a bigger space. We moved the Hosted Buyer Lounge there to the left so that the buyers are on the show floor. You can see the stages and the feature areas all mapped out here. But the idea is that we keep people engaged and active and everything accessible once the show floor is open on Thursday. The market that I mentioned is that place where you will pick your flagship product. You'll be able to have a nice shelf display with it. We're also extending where we have a retail ready pack for some of our exhibitors, space for that as well. And then, that's again, a great first impression and first connection with those buyers. And then our Conscious Connections is our meeting platform. So we have a couple different ways the meetings happen on site. This show is very centered around meetings and those connections that Jess was talking about, where we really want to put the buyers and the brands in the pathway of meeting as many opportunities as they can through these meetings, through the networking, through the community events, and just lots of opportunities to connect and meet. So there's a couple different levels. There's a one-to-one connection meeting platform that we facilitate through our app. It kind of works like LinkedIn. Excuse me, froggy. It works a little bit like LinkedIn, where you can see the buyers on the app. You can reach out to them and ask them to connect, and then it's a double opt-in. So when that happens, then you can start chatting with that buyer and asking them for a meeting based on their calendar, which is also there visible on the app. And then we have a hosted buyer program, which we just started kicking up. Actually, today was the first day, and this will run for the next few weeks. And it is a concierge level service for our hosted buyers that we invite to the show, host, and then they favor products in our Beacon system that they are looking for, and then they commit to meetings on site with those brands. So that's a really exciting part of the show. And then the Startup CPG package is a customized package that we did for Startup CPG. It is exhibit space, which is a 2x6 skirted table top. A press release is the sponsorship that's attached to that. There's a product listing in Beacon, which is our year-round product discovery platform. Product placement in the market, the eligibility for the meetings and the hosted buyer program, access to all the community events and networking opportunities. We also have a investor meetup that's going to happen on the show floor in our Conscious Connections Lounge too, and that was really exciting last year. And then Patricia can tell you more about this, but you do have a opportunity to tap into a Startup CPG partner rate. And then these are some images from last year that Patricia shared. Patricia, amazing pictures. So thank you for sharing them with us. And just some different ways the brands utilize their tabletops. There is space. I saw someone had a note in the chat about where do you store product. This is a 2x6 foot table. So it's counter height. So you have a skirted table where you can store product underneath. And then you can also arrange with the convention center to stage bringing you products. So you can set that up with the convention center where they bring you what you need for that day and store it otherwise. But some beautiful images. But I wanted to let everybody know there's plenty of time still to exhibit, to participate. You're in time for meetings, you're in time for connections. This is very turnkey as far as being able to exhibit. We designed it that way intentionally. Don't have a big booth build out, and lots of details to figure out, sort, tear down, set up, all those things that make exhibiting a little bit more of a heavy lift. So Newtopia is very turnkey and easy to participate. Let's see. I do see some questions here. Are there samples given out? Yes, yes. I don't know if some of you have participated at Expo West, which is a really heavy sample show. This one is a little bit lighter in the sense that you want to target those samples to the buyers that are attending. But yes, because it's a food show, conscious beauty product show, people really, really like to be able to sample your product. And then you have that engagement right there where you can get their reaction and their feedback. And that's a really valuable sort of experience to have them sample your product.
I saw a question, I think it was about programming based on the time it was put in there, but let me know the person who asked this. But just a question about, will there be content information about use of technology? And absolutely, that'll be a big part of our programming, is how both brands and retailers can leverage all different types of technologies and AI for success. We'll also have a session about working with content creators and how to navigate an omni-channel world by leveraging content creators and social content. A lot of the content that we'll be doing for this show is very interactive, very workshop style, and that's certainly going to be a big theme there. So we're excited about that. And I saw a question, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. So this person asked my question, so it's just about direct to consumer. Are there D2C players who come to Newtopia? I would say, like, first and foremost, understand that this is a trade event, so there are not consumers, but we did have a lot of direct to consumer companies that wanted to go into retail coming to this event and exhibiting at this event. The fact that programming is so centered around what makes a brand successful at retail and all different types of retail, I think it's a really good entry point. So person who asked this, if you are someone who wants your brand to ultimately get into retail but maybe aren't quite there yet, I do think it's a great place to launch into that space and really better understand the retail landscape. So we did have a lot of direct to consumer companies. And I'm also, I mean, I'm sure all of you are hearing this too, but just hearing so much about how big retail players are tapping into companies that are doing really great things on TikTok, on social, and really looking at social as, their innovation pipeline. So we'll have a great session with Target. I didn't put them up there, but their accelerator group and supplier diversity team, and they're always talking about how they're looking to direct to consumer companies to bring in store. I also saw a question about having a non-GMO and simple ingredient product that's not organic or plant-based. And absolutely, I mean, we say that this is an event for the conscious products industry. We do have a standards team that reviews products. We have some banned ingredients, so some ingredients are not allowed at our events, but just because you are not organic or plant-based absolutely does not disqualify you from this. And we have companies that are positioned in all different ways around conscious products, so it would absolutely make sense for you. Let's see, Katie, there's a question about cooking up samples in the small booth space and how to do that.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. You can set up electric through the show services, and then you can fit think of it like a kitchen countertop type of appliance to do the sampling. A lot of people get very creative with that, but I've seen air fryers, I've seen single burners, I've seen coffee makers. I mean, it depends what you're looking for, but you can set up anything that really fits on your table. And then there are some rules around propane, but if it's a kitchen appliance, it's absolutely fine. Jess, I see. Oh,
Yeah, I was
go
gonna
ahead.
have with questions, but you guys can keep going. Sorry, I just didn't know.
Yeah, let's see. I saw one about the attendance between Expo East and Colorado. So we really designed Utopia to be a very different show. And it's actually smaller than I guess the last few years at Expo East, just in that we're looking for very targeted buyers and we're looking for a smaller size audience so we really can make those connections. So last year we were at 7,000 attendees. We're on pace to do that again this year, and we're intentionally keeping it, in a more sort of boutique style size event. So just to facilitate all those meetings that are happening.
There is one question too about like if you have a tabletop, how brands typically deal with storing all the supplies for the 2 days. For example, if GES delivers everything on the first day.
Yeah, you can pace out the delivery from GES. You can coordinate that with them. Yep.
There is an extra fee, I guess, for that, right? Just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Trade shows are fee based. Unfortunately, yes.
I saw a question about meetings and how to book meetings. And yes, those are all booked through the event app, and companies that are exhibiting will be eligible for the Conscious Connections program, which I think speaks to another one of the questions about backpacking brands. I mean, we really crafted this to make sense and be most beneficial to exhibit, to get the full experience, which includes being able to set up meetings and participate in all the ways, and also really, try to make that accessible. So while we want people to just attend if that makes sense. For the most part, I think the full benefits of kind of an entry package are really great, even for very early stage brands at Newtopia Now. But Katie, would love if you have any thoughts on that too.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And I see a question here too about should only I think Deanna, your question is about if you have a production run or pre-production, would it be better to wait? And I would say that the buyers that come to Newtopia are they're not only looking for what's new, they're looking for what's next. So I think you can do sort of a pre-production you know, exhibiting experience there and have it be really valuable. There's a lot of connections you could make to help you scale there. Service providers attend the show as well. We do have a standards team, so that would be your first step is to apply there. And then, bless you, Jess. They would be able to walk you through qualifying through our standards would be what you would need to do to be able to exhibit. And they also have access to a market ready team too. So we have lots of resources, but that first step would be and I can link it here, but would be to fill out the application. And I'm sure Patricia might have feedback on that too, where she recommends depending on where you are at brand stage exhibiting.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if you have like your packaging is ready for retail and you're ready to like maybe sign up with a distributor, or you are kind of like on that level ready to take the next step with like a bigger retailer, I would say go for it. But we did have some brands that, for example, they launched and they wouldn't have enough samples to give at the show. So I told them like I would wait until next year because it is an investment. So I think it's good just to make sure that you are ready. Like it is relationships take time too, so sometimes it's hard because I would say it's good because you start building those relationships, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I think it's if there is a buyer that really love your product, wants you bring in, are you ready for that? So it's kind of a fine line.
And I see
Uh,
some questions about sampling too.
mhm.
Um, so this is always a little bit tricky to answer just because of the variety of types of products. But you can do both smaller size prepared samples that you do on site or prepackaged samples that you hand out. So really, if it's a prepackaged scenario, maybe 200 to 300 a day works. If you're cutting up samples, say you have a granola bar or something like that, and you want to give out just a taste, you can modify there. But We will have 7,000 attendees. It's a 5-to-1 buyer ratio, which is a really good amount of buyers to brands. So you want to make sure you have samples targeting those buyers.
Katie, maybe can you talk a little about like the setup decoration for the tabletop? They're asking any like regulations on signage, and also there is a tablecloth question.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see people got really like in the images that we're still sharing, people got very creative with their tabletop space, but there's a couple parameters. So you can bring anything to decorate the table as far as a tablecloth, as long as it fits. You can bring a 2x8 back standalone banner that sits behind you. You can see kind of the startup banner in the picture there. It would have to be freestanding. And then you can put things on the tabletop. There are some height restrictions on the tabletop, but you can put, a product display, standalone signage, those sampling gear that you need, like we were talking about with the stovetop or kitchen appliance kind of size thing. But yeah, you can get very creative with that space, but it is 2x6, and then you have the space underneath the table to store things.
And I saw Erica Dermer. Hi, Erica. That she put a comment in the chat, which I think is interesting, just that she ended up using less samples per day than at a show like Expo, even for the number of people. And I think that probably speaks to just the experience and how it's a little bit different. And you're having more conversations deeper and probably giving out fewer samples per person anyways. So I also saw a question about beacon discovery. So yes, when you purchase the package, it includes beacon and getting your products uploaded in there, and you want to make sure that you do that because our retailers are really looking in there in advance of the show, and that's just part of it. And I saw a question about what the retailers there are looking for. Because we have such a diverse range of retailers, we really did see that, they're looking for all different things. Some are looking for companies that are ready for national distribution. Some are very focused on regional and very early stage. I would say at this event in particular, the common denominators at retailers are looking for things that are truly new and innovative. And so a lot of times they recognize that that's coming from the very early stage brands. And so I did hear a lot of stories about retailers that were making the connection, staying in touch with brands, kind of working with them on either their launch strategy or their growth strategy. So I think the retailers there are really open to developing a true partnership early on. And they're all a little bit different in terms of what they're looking for, but early stage and regional brands definitely got a lot of attention at this show.
And then another question would be about if there is freezer rentals or cold storage that they can hire, I guess, from GES.
Yes, yeah. You can, GES has all those resources. So a small, I don't know. I did see some people with coolers, and I did see some like small, like a dorm refrigerator too. So depending on what you're looking for, if you want to try to keep everything with you. But yeah, larger samples would need to go through GES and their services
Yeah.
that need to be chilled or frozen. Yeah.
Or like the cooler, if you bring ice and then anything that can fit under your table.
Mhm.
A lot of brands do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that you're limited to hand carry, not wheeled. That's one of the convention center rules, unfortunately. Yep.
Katie, did you see that clarification about the sampling for the market specifically?
Oh, yes. So let's see. I see it now. Yes, everybody has the market included. Oh, the marketplace sampling area. Okay, sorry. Now I'm following. I think we ask for 200 samples. I can see your name, but not your company name, Michael. Do you mind putting your name in the chat, and I'll send you a note to confirm. Yeah. And then Harry, I also saw your note about the soap, and yes, you and I are chatting about that in email, and I'll follow up as well. I am the right person. Thank you, Harry.
I see a question about High Point Creamery. Oh, I love you guys. I love all your products. There, everyone's posting about your
I
products.
know.
And I'm like, I want all of them. They're all the best. Just asking you produce. So asking about like, is this a good place to connect for contract manufacturing and private label projects? I mean, yes, like I definitely retail first and foremost, but because there's so many great companies and we do have like more established brands that are at the show as well because they want to participate and kind of be part of these innovation conversations. So I think it's a great place to make connections with like peers in the industry as well. And the networking opportunities and the dinners and all that, I think are really conducive to those types of relationships that are beyond the kind of traditional buyer seller stuff. So yes, I think this is a great place for those discussions as well. Which product categories seem to fare best at Newtopia? I mean, we have so much innovation across categories at Newtopia. We saw, I mean, there's just like a few trend areas. We're seeing tons of great stuff in global flavors. We're seeing a lot in functional. We have a glow neighborhood that Katie talked about, which is wellness and conscious beauty and women's health. So I wouldn't say that any categories did better than others, but I think this has been a really a place where we focus on some of those key trend and opportunity areas and try to kind of organize content and neighborhoods around those. And as you can see with the neighborhood format, rather than being like traditional category based, we did make them more thematic because we believe that's how a lot of the discovery happens, you know, sustainability and all the topics that show up in the regenerate neighborhood, certainly really important, thrive, and the functional things and health focus at the show. So there's just a lot of cool stuff happening. I can't say I would choose what that's like choosing your favorite child as your favorite Newtopia product category, but yeah, we just see tons of innovation.
There is a question if distributors are going to be there and also pet care buyers.
Yes, definitely distributors. UNFI is actually a sponsor and has a booth. KE and some of the other smaller distributors are definitely signed up and coming and excited. And then pet care buyers, we have buyers from all the major, you know, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods sends a buyer, not category specific, but they send their retailer buyers that have more kind of general buying categories under their purview, and there are other pet companies that are exhibiting, and then those buyers will be there through those bigger retailers.
Patricia or Katie, do you have a perspective on this question? The question about if the startup CPG area is as a beauty brand is okay, or if it's better to be in Glow.
Yeah, we do. We have a startup CPG area in Glow on reserve. So you would fit, I would, beauty brand, that's where you'd go. Be perfect spot.
Best
Yeah,
of luck.
I would say last year we didn't have a section in Glow, and we did had like I think 4 or 5 brands that were with us. We heard from those brands that like beauty buyers stop by, but I would say that like there are, you know, a pitch competition that you can be if you're in the Glow section. There are like other benefits that I think you will get more being in that neighborhood if you are a beauty brand. Just answering Karen's question really quick, the Startup CPG prize, I just dropped in the chat again, which is a form, that's not the giveaway, it's a form to sign up if you want to purchase a booth through us if you don't get the giveaway. And then there is the price is all there.
And I wanted to, I didn't say this in the programming, but because we've seen a couple questions about conscious beauty and wellness, we do have a conscious beauty and wellness pitch that will happen on day one of the show. We did this last year, well, day two, the day one of the show floor, and it's a really cool opportunity. It will highlight innovations in conscious beauty, wellness, women's health, and kind of all those adjacent categories. We have a great prize package for it, and that is eligible to all exhibitors to apply for it, but we will be wrapping up the applications and going through the first round of judging next week. So if you're a company in any of these categories that's on the fence, but you're thinking about getting a booth, definitely reach out to me so I can make sure that we reserve or keep it open a little longer so that you can submit. But that was a really cool thing that we did last year, and we're bringing it back because it was so successful.
I see a question
Yeah.
about renting a freezer from the
Mhm.
show. If I'm not
Mhm.
wrong, Robert said last week or 2 weeks ago when we did a call that it should, hiring a freezer through GES should fit
Yes.
under the table.
Yeah.
But you can look at the dimensions when you like are in the exhibitor console as well.
Yeah. In our exhibitor service kit, you can go into the GES information. They probably have options on different sizes. So yeah.
I think there is a Tyler question specific how he can find the New Hope application code response ID for the
Oh,
beacon discovery.
let me, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Can you send me your info and I'll connect you? We have a Beacon audience success team. I'll get you connected to them. Just read, oh, I think I put that just to Michael again. 1 second. Here it is.
Can brands hand out samples of a new product not yet launched?
All the products that are sampled at the show do have to go through our standards process and be approved there. And if they give you the go ahead, then that's fine. Yep.
I think another question that we didn't answer, I think the question is if you're more of a mid-stage brand, does this still make sense for you? And definitely, I mean, we have companies of all sizes. I think the benefits to early stage brands are really unique. And I think that's where so much of the energy and heart comes into Newtopia now. But we do see companies that are mid-stage or even later stage, again, that really want to be showcasing what's new or connecting with retailers in a deeper way. A lot of Newtopia is meant to be not just about that discovery experience, but how to find success after that and how to work in partnership with retailers and what that looks like. So that's where a lot of our mid-sized and larger companies are finding it to be really beneficial. So it truly is great for companies of all sizes, and mid-size is a great place to say, let's deepen those relationships with our current buyers and potential new ones.
And I think we have one last question about samples. If you guys recommend the same amount of tasting samples as the maybe like giveaway samples, like the small sampling?
Oh, no, I don't think you'll need, if you're doing both, if you're, say you're cutting up that granola bar and you're handing that out and people are sampling it at your table, you would need more of those. And then I would keep some larger samples that you want people a buyer to take with them, for example. You would need a smaller amount of those. I think your advantage when you're there meeting the buyers to get their real-time reaction to your product and build that conversation in your pitch around the experience they're having with the flavor and quality you're having them sample right there. I think if they take the sample with them, you're not sure if they try it, it could be something they give away. You could certainly do both, but I like taking advantage of having them in front of you. So I would be doing more samples on site.
I agree with that. Cool. I think we covered everything. We still have, I think, 4 spots open for the section. So again, if we're gonna sign up for the giveaway, but if you don't get the giveaway, do not get the free booth to the giveaway, but you still want to be part of the Startup CPG section, just sign up at the form link I share here. I know also New Hope have other booths around the trade show. There are a few booths near our section as well. Katie and Jessica, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, just that we would absolutely love, all the brands here would be a great fit for Newtopia if you haven't decided to, if you haven't signed up yet. And we'd love to see you in person. We feel like we're really building something special with Newtopia and the community, and we want you to be a part of it. And we do everything we can around the design with this show to make it easy for you to participate and really have it be the most value possible, where you're really building and connecting, making meetings before you even get to the show floor. So please reach out. My email's in there. Patricia knows how to reach me too, but very happy to talk any additional questions with anyone. So Jess, I'll let you do the final.
Oh
the
man.
final
Well,
thing.
first of all, you guys are the best. So many questions, and that's great. You're such an engaged community, so it's always fun to do these with you. And the only thing that I would add is just that for me, the best part of Newtopia was hearing from very early stage companies, many of which had never done a trade show before, saying like this was the exact right fit for us, and it got us feeling so ready for the next step. So I know we got some questions about readiness, and while it may not make sense this year, I would definitely encourage if you're kind of on the fence and thinking about a trade show and haven't done one before, or have, and want to, be in this environment. But I think it was just really cool to hear companies saying like this was the right first step for us, and then likely exhibiting at Expo West next year. So it's really cool to see that, and I hope we continue to build that momentum because I love seeing all these companies, all of you guys on the floor at Newtopia.
Yeah, it's truly an amazing show. It's like you can connect with people, talk to everyone. I just love it. Jessica and Katie, thank you so much for joining us. I just dropped the giveaway link here in the chat. It's gonna close tomorrow at 10 a.m. ET, so make sure you fill that out today. You have to be here on this webinar to participate. So make sure you get your applications in. We are so excited to see everyone at the show. Again, even though if you don't get the booth giveaway, it's a great show. I highly recommend, as Jessica was saying, starting in Utopia and then going to Expo West, because I think going to Expo West straight is just a crazy. It's amazing, but it's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
we've been saying, Patricia, that Expo
oh,
West is like the Super Bowl and Newtopia is like South by Southwest. So,
yes,
you
exactly.
know.
Okay, about the links, sorry guys, Google has changed the settings. I always have to do an extra step, but now please try again. I just drop again the link for the giveaway. Sorry about that. Um, cool. Thank you so much again, Katie, Jessica, for sharing your time, sharing about Newtopia Now. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be there, so
Oh
I'm
no,
gonna miss it. But I'm sure it's gonna be a great show.
it will be a great show. Well, we'll see you soon, Patricia, and hopefully we'll see many of you in Denver. Come visit me.
Yes, me too. All right. Well, thank you so much. Nice to meet everybody. And thanks, Patricia.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.